Yeah, I mean, the Boscastle thing's very interesting actually, because I previously was thinking about doing some research in Boscastle, all about how the community came together after the floods. And I guess that's a key aspect of it really, that the community often only comes together following drastic and tragic events. And that shouldn't necessarily be the case. It's going to be too late in a lot of instances if that's the case. And I think for a long time, climate change has had an impact. It's just that it's been on other parts of the world, and often those communities that don't have much of a voice in the world, that are disadvantaged in various ways. And it's only now that we're beginning to feel the effects that we sort of see it as a more real problem, and one that we might have a responsibility in addressing. So I think it's useful to have things like Boscastle in mind, and to really sort of understand and recognise that there have been these occasions when things have really hit home, and that may well become more frequent, and it's going to affect all of us, but it's also going to affect a lot of the people that don't have a voice and don't have the money and don't have the power more than other people. And I think that's the sort of real injustice about it. And we really need to recognise that ultimately we're all one, we're all going to end up the same. And so we need to sort of identify with people that have so far borne the brunt of it, because that's ultimately what we're at risk of facing as well.
So do you see social justice as being at the heart of our response to climate breakdown?
To some extent, yeah. I mean, I think social justice is has tended to very much focus on people and social relations, but I would definitely be inclined to go beyond that and think about all living things really, because I think the two are inseparable really. I mean, I'm a lot of the time I'm inspired by a couple of people really. Eckhart Tolle has taught me quite a lot, and so has a gentleman called Peter Russell, and they both talk about evolution and the kind of next stage of evolution not being any sort of technical or technological development, but being an expansion of our consciousness and the collective mind, and the sort of recognition that we're all in this together and we can all learn from each other. And I think that's really important, and I think it really requires a sort of change in collective mindset. So yeah, I really identify with that sort of thing, and I think once we sort of begin to understand other people and their plight and how we have a responsibility to care for others, I think that by extension just extends to other living things. We've been blessed with such a beautiful world of living creatures and living things that we should really appreciate a lot more than we do. And when we're faced with those really violent, I guess, effects for living things, I at least find it very difficult to work with and to accept. And I think a lot of the time we're in a privileged position in the West where we don't necessarily have to see that, and we don't see how the supply chains feed into our everyday lives. And I think more and more we need to, and I think that's happening, and that's a good thing.
So social justice may be part of the systemic change that we need, but there'll be other changes presumably that will lead to hopefully a more positive, more celebratory kind of society. Do you see that kind of thing happening?
Absolutely. I think there's a massive upswelling at the moment of collective action, of people identifying with each other, and people that are of the same kind of mindset really coming together and beginning to affect others. And I think a lot of that's been enabled by social media and the fact that we can all be connected via that, and we're identifying with people and movements and groups that are working in other countries, so there's a bit of solidarity about it. It doesn't forever feel that we're in an uphill struggle and we're the only ones working on these sorts of things. And I think as long as there continues to be talk, then I think that automatically begins to place emphasis on the people who have power, which I see as the government and as the corporations. And they both have a duty to respond, whether it's in financial or democratic terms, to what the people want and where trends are going in that respect. So yeah, I do see a lot of positivity. I'm sure, like everybody, I go through these kind of waves of pessimism and optimism, but it's not useful to be too pessimistic, is it? I mean, where's it going to get us? Let's be proactive. Let's see what can be done, and let's not dwell on what's already happened, and let's move forward and be progressive.
Yeah, thank you. That's great.